All right, welcome back. Episode 16, Six Pack Sports. A lot happened this weekend. We're going to break down a lot of what happened in college football and really sports in general. There was a lot going on between basketball, college football, national championship, pro football. So over the next couple episodes, we're going to break all of that down for you. First things first. Drew, what are you drinking tonight?
Tonight, I'm switching it up a little bit. I got a couple of these at the store when I was there. Reason why, there's only 100 calories. That's important. And it's a High Noon by Sun Sips vodka soda. So I won't be bloated, but let's make sure we can maintain that buzz throughout the episode. A lot to talk about here. We don't have a lot of time, so let's get right into it.
I heard those were good. I'm excited. I'm keeping on with the last of my holiday things. I got a winter solstice seasonal ale from Anderson Valley Brewing Company. As we get into the new year, this will be my last little taste of the holidays.
There you go. I like it. So let's get right into it. Closing the door in the college football season. College football championship. Georgia, and this is not a typo, 65, TCU 7. Start us off with this massacre.
It was a hard game to watch. Started off Georgia.
I stopped watching.
I left it on, but I started, browsing my phone. They went right down the field, right in the beginning, set the tone. They were the better team. There was a second there where TCU scored. It was 10-7. And I was like, okay.
10-7, national championship. Couple punts, couple 3-and-outs, but 10-7
yeah,
in the first quarter. This is what we wanted.
Max Duggan did not look good in the beginning of the game. I mean, really the whole game. But at the beginning of the game, he missed a couple open wide receivers. They had some chances to make some plays early. Didn't make any of them until that touchdown drive. Scored the touchdown. Georgia comes back and then rattles off 55 unanswered points.
Let's be honest. The only good thing about this game was the national anthem. And that's it.
I didn't watch the national anthem. Who was it?
I don't know, but it was great.
God Bless America, right?
It was better than the game.
I watched the Pat McAfee show broadcast because I wanted to check that out. They've been doing it. That was more entertaining than the game.
I watched the RG3 one during the Michigan TCU game.
He's great.
And he is great, but I thought it was funny. His wife was having a baby, and midway through the broadcast, he's like, "I'm out. See ya."
Yeah, like
he runs off the field.
Him and Taylor Lewan knew about it, so he's like, "Oh, I gotta go." And Taylor Lewan's like, "My dog, go get it." And the other two announcers were they had no idea what was going on. And then when
what do you mean?
This is the middle of a broadcast. You can't answer their phone. And they're like, "Oh, his wife's going into labor," and you saw it come off.
Robert, we're live right now.
He looked like he was back to his Olympic hurdling self. The way he sprinted off that field. I don't know if you follow him on Twitter. He's a good follow, but he was tweeting. He's like, "Gosh, I wish I hadn't booked Southwest for this flight back to my baby."
He's the truth.
Yeah, he's really funny. But anyway, that was cool. That is a cool moment. And I like that they're starting to do that. And it's kind of funny. You're drinking a High Noon, the Barstool brand. You can see ESPN now trying to capture that Barstool audience by being kind of Barstool. Like, okay, so Taylor Lewan is a Barstool guy. Pat McAfee got his start in media at Barstool. So they're trying to bring in all this new young talent to compete with that. And honestly, we're talking more about this because it was more entertaining than the game.
I can't stand Taylor Lewan for more than one reason, but
that's
we're not
fair.
Here to talk about him.
I have a funny Taylor Lewan story, but do we want to even go into that national championship game other than Stetson Bennett being older than 9 NFL starting quarterbacks, which is hilarious?
I did see a meme today where he's flexing. He's doing his thing.
Deservedly.
He knows he's on camera, and the meme said, "The face you look when you're 26 beating up on 19-year-olds."
Hey. Regardless of how good you are at football, it is hard to be a Division I NCAA quarterback. Didn't Florida State have that 28-year-old Heisman Trophy winner back in the 90s?
can't think of his name.
I can't either. I'm blanking, but they had one.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of his name. So.
I'm going to think of it in the middle of the episode and shout it out.
At the end of the day, in response to the outcome, obviously Michigan's going to play a little bit better than what they did.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing a lot of push online that TCU didn't deserve to be there. And it just absolutely blows my mind that is a narrative.
Yeah, they're trying to say...
honest, this is the last thing that the committee wanted. The committee was dying.
It proves the point for the playoff of 12, because what the playoff of 12 gives us is
you're going to weed out a couple of those teams.
Well, and it gives us a larger scale. Like we saw the upset last week, the 8.5 point underdog beats Michigan, which is great for college football.
Deservingly.
Sucked for me as a Michigan fan. It's great for college football to see that. So when you see next year and we move to this 12 team and you're going to have the opportunity for more of that, for more teams to have their college football story. And then probably when they get to that next round after getting their big win, you're going to see the right teams get to the national championship game. Michigan undoubtedly would have played Georgia tougher than TCU did. I stand by what I said.
No doubt in my mind.
I stand by what I said last week. I think they played their worst game of the year by far against TCU. I think they were looking ahead to Georgia, and it came back to bite them. They went against everything they did all year. You know, Georgia played Ohio State tough. That was a field goal game at the buzzer to win.
It was basically a tie.
So, I mean, you can see Michigan giving a very comparable game to that, seeing as how they had beaten Ohio State. So it's kind of like you can't use that, what is the law of transitive properties, just because Team A beat Team B doesn't mean that if Team B beats the Team C, that Team A will beat Team C. It just doesn't track.
Wholeheartedly agree. However, I'm glad that you said that, because if you would have said, "Oh, Ohio State did this," that means we would have done this. And it doesn't work. So many different scenarios.
There's so many different matchups.
Schemes. There's so many different matchups.
It doesn't work. Yes. I agree with you.
Do I think Georgia is the best team in the nation? 100%.
Yeah, it's hard.
They dominated.
If anybody has a counter argument to Georgia being the best team in the country, I'd love to hear it.
I'd love to hear it.
Love to hear it, because they have looked like the best team in the country since the beginning of the season, and they haven't really faltered. I've watched a couple of their games. We get a lot of the SEC stuff down here in Florida, so I've watched a bit of Florida, watched a bit of like Florida State, Miami, Clemson, and obviously Georgia. They've been unbelievable all year. Like, they're a very good football team, and probably like a top 10 all-time college football team. They were awesome. Back-to-back national champs. Them dogs.
You got to give them respect. And you also have to give TCU respect. They were like the 34th, 40th recruiting class. They won their conference.
They were like 200-1.
They won their conference regular season.
To win the national championship. They were like 200-1 to win the Natty, and they were there. So cheers to them. Great season.
Calling them lucky to be there is a complete disrespect to the actual game that they played against Michigan.
Yeah.
TCU owned Michigan in a lot of certain aspects of the games. Yeah. And
most importantly, the scoreboard.
Most importantly, the scoreboard. They moved on.
Speaking of moving on, because that was an ugly game that nobody wants to remember.
Nobody wanted to watch that. I quit watching after the first. It was done.
Let's talk some college football drama. Jim Harbaugh. He's flirting with the NFL again.
Now, here's what I want to know. He straight up had a press conference and a article write-up saying, "I'm done with the NFL. My heart is in Michigan. I'm done flirting. Let's focus on the big picture of winning a national championship."
Are you talking about what he posted a week or two ago, where it was like, nobody knows what the future holds, but I'm very confident that I'm a Michigan man?
I'm talking way before that. I'm talking when, even last year, before this season, he says, I'm here for Michigan football.
But yeah, he said that after he didn't get offered the Minnesota job. Like, after he hopped on the private jet, flew to Minnesota, and the owner was like, "You're a weird dude. I don't want you coaching here."
I disagree.
I think that's 100% what happened.
He didn't say that I'm not closing the door. He did say I'm closing the door in the NFL. I don't want to do it anymore.
Well,
I'm here for Michigan football.
He's taking interviews, and he's getting a pretty nice salary at Michigan. I looked up. I think he's like the 4th or 5th highest paid college football coach. He's making like $6 or $7 million this year. So it's not like he needs the money to go back to the NFL. So if he's not like using it as leverage for a new deal, I don't think. I think he wants back to the NFL. He might be tired of the recruiting grind, and I think back to what I said previously, I think he wants a Super Bowl. I think the fact that his little brother has one and beat him in the Super Bowl keeps him up at night. So if he gets offered an NFL job, I bet you he takes it. And if he gets offered Denver, I really think he'll take it. He likes the NFL, I think. That's just my thought on
Denver's so bad. At the end of the day, the Michigan fan base does not deserve this. They don't. At all. Not one bit.
It's the nature of having a high-profile coach like that.
I don't see any other high-profile coaches doing that consistently, year in and year out, and making. He wants to stay in the headlines.
The only one that doesn't,
so annoying.
They all do. The only one that doesn't do that in today's day and age has been Nick Saban, and he did it to your Spartans and to LSU a decade ago. So they all do it.
I'm fine with that. He was a young coach. He's working his way up. Jim Harbaugh's I'm not saying he's at the end of his career, but this is as high as he's going to get.
Well, I mean, the NFL.
He's already done the NFL thing. He made a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he lost, though. That's my point. He lost to his brother. I think he wants to go and get that Super Bowl ring so the holidays aren't so awkward.
Regardless if he wants to go do it or he's capable or willing to do it.
Well, he's definitely capable.
Said he's closing the door in the NFL last year.
That wouldn't be the first time a college coach lied. College football coaches lie, dude. I think it's very much on the fan.
I'd be pissed at this.
I'm annoyed because I think it affects recruiting. You know, if you're a recruit and Jim Harbaugh's on your couch saying, "Hey, I want you to come here and play for me," your first question is, "Are you going to be here?" And he can't answer that with a straight face right now. I don't think so.
Jim Harbaugh is that guy that owes you money, and anytime you kind of bring it up or ask him, "Oh, no big deal.
I'll catch you next time. I got it. Man. You know I'm good for it." Like Venmo me, and he's like, "I got you." Yeah. I don't have my phone. My phone's dead.
Jim Harbaugh's that guy.
Jim Harbaugh,
he's garbage.
I think he's just a weird dude, man. Don't forget, he's Screech's cousin. If you're a Saved by the Bell fan, you'll catch that deep cut. Like, it's a weird family. Drinks a lot of milk. You know, he's an odd dude. I do think if he gets that offer from Denver or Carolina, I think he's gone. I think he's going to try and do the NFL life again.
Well, get out of here then.
That's my thought.
Leave.
But here's the thing. I don't want him to. I want him to stay. When we hired him 7 years ago, I was pretty happy. And then five years after that, 2 years ago, after we had, I think we're 1-9 versus Michigan State and Ohio State, I was ready for them to fire him. And then we rattle off back-to-back wins against Ohio State, back-to-back Big Ten championships. And we've got a solid core of the team returning next year. I don't want him to go. I don't want him to go anywhere.
He closed the door in the NFL last year. He said it out loud.
Yeah, well, he kicked it open.
I'm going to find the report and prove it.
I don't doubt you.
It's just annoying.
I don't doubt that he said that. I remember something about it. I didn't look it up, so I don't remember what it said. But that dude is 100% interviewing in Denver and Carolina. Like, it's confirmed.
Moving on to the next topic of a reason he might be getting out of town is these little tiny NCAA infractions that are hitting.
He bought a dude a burger. He bought a dude a cheeseburger.
So what's important to me? So I'm going to go into why it's a little bit more serious than what people think. But I first need to know, was this a single double? Was this a single or double cheeseburger?
Well, that depends. Was it a skill position or an offensive lineman? Because is
it a higher level infraction if there's bacon on it? I mean, is that important?
It is. Do you remember like 4 or 5 years ago
combo meal?
Where the NCAA made an entire team pay like $1.37 each because they got extra, like an extra cookie or with dessert or a cupcake after a team meal that they weren't supposed to get? They made every single player pay like $1.17. That's how stupid they are.
I just need to know if this was a double or single cheeseburger. Because if it's a single, no big deal. But you throw in that extra slice of meat, you're breaking the law.
Was that the infraction? The second patty?
I think it might have been.
The second patty put it over the edge.
Or regular, if you're using Kraft cheese, that's so cheap. NCAA doesn't care. But if you're using like a quality Swiss cheese.
Like maybe a Gouda.
That's how dumb it sounds.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous when you start getting into these lower level infractions. I hate the NCAA and how they just stick their fingers into everything, and they've got no reason to do 90% of what they do. They just continually make the wrong decision.
I understand the reason for the rules, but this is a stretch.
Yeah, there's some common sense stuff like buying a kid a cheeseburger or a meal is not the same.
Or buying him a Camaro.
As dropping a Camaro with, $20,000 in the trunk in a bag. It's a little different. So I'm with you on that. I can't believe that it's something they're even trying to make newsworthy. Do you think with all the violations that really have happened through the years, the hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars they've funneled to players and players' families and jobs and cars and homes, a cheeseburger is what they're going to spend their time on? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely and utterly ridiculous.
Okay, so the infractions are dumb.
Dumb.
We both agree.
Very dumb.
But the incoming level 1 infraction that's about to hit Jim Harbaugh is his lack of cooperation and then lying during the investigation. And that, my man, is a big no-no. So here's my thing.
Can't lie.
Let me finish. If they're arrogant enough to lie about that, what else are they lying about? What else are they hiding?
Michigan?
Honest question.
So
if they're dumb enough and arrogant enough to lie about that, what else are they hiding?
So I have it on good authority from, when we were in college that there were a lot of infractions going on at both Michigan and Michigan State.
All over the place, yes.
There was a lot of systems in place for envelopes to be passed. So if they're willing to, honestly, I don't think it's that brazen to lie about a cheeseburger. There's a good chance he forgot that he bought a kid a cheeseburger, but there's definitely worse things. This is like Al Capone getting caught for taxes. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't want you to deflect what I said. He's lying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I want to know what else they're lying about.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that they're like diving in and he lied about this, that's my equivalent. Like, this is like Al Capone getting brought up on charges for tax evasion when he's the world's biggest, liquor importer during Prohibition, murderer, killing people, violent crimes, racketeering, and they're like, oh, but hey, you didn't pay any taxes, so that's how we get you. Like, and Michigan's just a drop in the bucket of these teams. You think like it happens in the SEC for sure. It happens all throughout the Big Ten. Ohio State, I mean, they got them on tattoos, but you think they weren't giving Terrell Pryor bags of cash? Like, what are we doing here?
Jim Tressel lost his job over lying about tattoos.
Yeah, like this isn't.
All I got to say is the NCAA
story.
Doesn't pass out level 1 infractions for funsies. Like there's some deep connections of proof.
See, here's the reason I don't care about it, and you can say it's a home run, but I didn't care when Ohio State did it. I didn't care that USC paid Reggie Bush. I don't care. It's because everybody's doing it. So the fact that we're doing it too, I don't care. What I care about is we're doing it. We're not winning natties. They're doing it winning natties.
I disagree, and I think that's a solid deflection. Like, I don't care that my team's doing it because everybody else is doing it.
Everybody else is doing it.
I think that's a bad take, but it's fine.
It's not hurting anybody. Like that buying, it's not like it's a bad thing that he's buying a cheeseburger. They're giving these kids money to come to school. Everybody's doing it. It's putting money in their pockets. I don't care. Win a natty. You think Michigan State's not doing it? I don't want to talk about things. If you want to talk about as a Michigan State fan, what their programs have lied about and covered up, is that really a road you want to go down?
Oh, okay. So that's what we're going to do.
Saying.
Don't worry about what my team's doing. Look what your team did in the past.
We're talking about a cheeseburger here, Michigan State. I understand.
Did you not hear everything that I just said in the last 20 minutes?
That's all I heard.
I agreed with you that the infractions are dumb.
Yeah, but you're saying so. And I told you, I think
lie about it. Quit lying about it.
That's my point.
You know darn well that Jim Harbaugh is playing this. Oh, I don't know what happened.
They have
maybe
to play
I got
that
him
game.
a cheeseburger. Maybe he paid for it. He's lying the entire time.
Maybe he was. Maybe he didn't remember. We're talking about a cheeseburger. Now, if they were bringing him up on real infractions, Then we could have a
Lying
real
to the
conversation about it.
NCAA is a real infraction.
The NCAA is a joke. Charging kids for cheeseburgers, cookies, and extra things. They're a joke.
We're moving on here because I know I'm right. But final sip on college football.
Just saying, a lot of moral high ground, high horse from the Michigan State fan.
Oh,
lying and covering up.
Deflection. That's what that is. It's deflection.
Just saying. Glass houses, man. Glass houses.
Michigan State has the shortest leash ever right now. Nobody likes Michigan State.
Nobody ever
The
did.
NCAA doesn't like them. ESPN doesn't like them.
Women's rights groups don't like them. Gymnasts
run
don't
their
like
program
them.
To a T.
Why do you say that like it's a bad thing? Do you wish they could buy kids cheeseburgers too?
You've upset me. This is garbage. I can't tell if you're joking or you're trying to be serious. I know it's half and half, just to try to get under my skin, but Jim Harbaugh is that slime ball who's just continuing to lie. I've had enough of it. Get out of town. See you later.
I don't want him to go anywhere. Do you think there's a college football coach, and not this is another deflection by your words. The first one wasn't a deflection, but this is. Do you think there's a college football coach that isn't a slime ball, that doesn't do like anything wrong?
Luke Fickell.
Luke Fickell, former Ohio State coach, now Wisconsin, right? Just signed him.
I think he's clean.
You think Luke Fickell's on the up and up?
Listen, Tony Anise, Fair State
was he
University,
part of the Urban Meyer staff? Was he part of the Urban Meyer staff?
I think he was.
Yeah, he's clean. I'm sure he's real clean.
Listen, final sip on the college football season. We're ending this conversation because you've upset me. Give me the lowdown on the entire season. Say something nice about Michigan State, or we're ending the podcast right now.
Sure. I actually thought this was a great college football season. It played out a little bit too much like everybody thought it would. Here we are with Georgia. I would have liked to see Michigan in there mixing it up, obviously, but Michigan beats Ohio State. They run the table. Really happy with that. I think it was a fun season there. Michigan State, looking at next year, I think you guys have a lot to build on. I think the real test is going to come is, can you get a quarterback to sling it to some of those talented wide receivers? And can Tuck prove that he can coach without a top-tier talent running back? You guys rode that Kenneth Walker train. I think that they have a lot of work to do, but as we saw with TCU, nobody is out of it. You can be a 200-1 dog and make it to the national championship game. Next year, I believe, is the year we're going to a 12-team playoff. It's going to be incredible. So I am very much looking forward to next season.
We are.
I thought it was next year. I know they were trying to get it as soon as possible. I hope it's next year, but we'll see. Regardless, anything can happen in college football. So you just got to get that one stud to get you over the edge.
I just need to know if it was a single or double cheeseburger. Seriously.
You sift through the 15-page NCAA report. Let me know.
Moving on to something that it's about time I get to say my team is better than your team. And here's why. Michigan State, Tom Izzo University, 59. University of Michigan, Juwan Howard University, 53. It was like a 14 or 15-point game at one point. Did you watch the game?
I put it on for a little bit before the NFL games kicked off on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And Michigan State went up by about 10 and then 15. I watched it just through halftime in the first few minutes in the second half. They buried a couple threes, put Michigan down like 15, and they just didn't look like a very good team. Michigan kind of looked lost out there. They were throwing up a lot of bricks. Not going to be our year. Maybe if they get hot, they can, get into the dance. I think right now they're probably a bubble team, a late seed team to get in.
Probably a bubble team.
So we'll see what happens there. Michigan State, I think with the way they're playing right now and like pedigree and who they are as a team, they're probably going to get into that 8-9 seed where they've been dangerous at before. They've made the Sweet 16 from an 8 and 9. So
I'm interested to see where we finish in the Big Ten before.
Yeah,
maybe
there's a long way to go.
Maybe a month into the season before I can say, yeah, we're looking at a 7 to 9 seed. But
as we sit today is kind of how I see it. There's obviously like we got 2 months here until we start seeding for March, so we've got a little bit of time still. Ugly game.
Great guard play out of Hoggard and Walker. AJ Hoggard, 15-4-6. Walker, 14-0-2. And then Malik Hall off the bench, 15-3. Malik Hall is a huge difference maker. I cannot explain enough how the team plays when he's in the game or not in the game or he's hurt. It's a totally different team, and it's painful to watch them on defense when he's not in the lineup. He can guard anybody on the court, especially at the NCAA level. You get a good, talented guy in college that can guard anybody, it's so important. In the NBA, it's not that big a deal. Because one, they don't play defense. And two, everybody's just that guy. So, but in college, you get a good defender, it makes a huge difference.
No, you nailed it. In the NCAA, they make them D up for the entire game. And the pros, they don't play defense until the playoffs. So right. It's going to be...
Or the last 2 minutes of the All-Star game.
What? Yeah, right. When that bonus is on. For the pro All-Star game, do they get like a substantial bonus compared to NFL? Like the NFL, if you used to win the Pro Bowl, you would get like $50,000, or if you lost, you would get 25. Does basketball do that too?
I'm sure they have in their individual contracts if they get money, but the NBA All-Star game in the last 5 years is it's cringe.
Yeah, they're terrible. Pro Bowl was awful too, and it's flag football this year. We should talk about that on the next episode, but we'll talk that. So let's get back on Michigan State. Tipping the cap to Sparty. All's right in the world again. Michigan State's better than Michigan at basketball. Michigan's better than Michigan State at football. What do you think this team's going to do through the rest of the year?
I see both teams at the middle. I see Michigan at the middle of the Big Ten. I see Michigan State maybe the 3-4 seed heading into the Big Ten tournament. Both teams have a lot to prove, and overall, average at best for both teams. But you got to win your rivalry games. You got to win at home. So back to the game, the actual game, sluggish play on offense from both sides. But the reasons Michigan State won, in my opinion, they doubled up Dickinson in the post as much as possible. And either him or the coaching staff couldn't figure that out or capitalize on it. And I'm not saying I know a whole lot about scheming on offense when I get doubled up as the big man, because I played basketball through 8th grade. So I am no one to say should have did this, should have done that. But I think that's pretty fundamental to be able to figure out. You get doubled up, there's got to be somebody open.
Yeah, only Kobe likes to take 2-on-1 and throw it up and still ring it home. In college, find the open man. Easier said than done. Easier said than done.
As soon as you see that double team streak towards the basket, it's a quick pass. You get a layup.
And your teammates need to know that. Like when I'm open, cut towards the basket, make yourself available.
I know teams are going to be watching that tape because every time Dickinson got the ball in the low post, the opposite side of the paint, that guy was right there. The second defender was right there as soon as he got the ball, and it stopped him. It made a difference. He wasn't as productive as he was. Also, even if he did pass off and they got a 3, University of Michigan shot 3 of 20 from 3. You're not winning games shooting 3 of 20. Ever.
No, they were like 1 of 13 or 14 at the half when I was watching, and Michigan State I think was at like 40%. They were shooting much better from 3, and it's just like, oh, this is so much different than the John Belayne teams we used to have. Do you think they're going to start calling for Juwan Howard's head at any point?
I think it's still a little early.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's early for 2 reasons. One, what is this, year 3 or 4 for him?
Yeah.
So
I think it's year 4.
He's just now getting all of his guys in. Also, his boys there. I can't imagine that they want to ship him out of town when his 5-star son is on the team. I think that's
probably not.
Probably not something that they want to go down.
Not
at the end of the day, it just seemed like Michigan was waiting for someone to take over the game, and nobody.
They don't
did.
have it.
Nobody did. And especially when Maddie Sasasco was in foul trouble all game. Go to the paint, drive the lane, make Michigan State foul you. They just didn't want to do it.
Is that you think that's on the players, or is that coaching?
Both. More coaching. I mean, these are adults who understand the game, and the kids are just doing the best they can on the court based on instruction. But
we're at that point of the year where one of my favorite obscure movie quotes comes into line. For football, you win or you go play basketball. And guess what? It's basketball season. Friday Night Lights, baby. So it's time to start watching a little college basketball. I'd like to watch the Pistons, but without Cade, we didn't even touch. You mentioned to me this week how we haven't even talked about how Cade Cunningham got hurt because we've been so focused on football.
We've been so focused on two great runs by
our teams were very fun. So I think now that, we've obviously got them concluding, we can start diving into some of our other teams. What's terrible about that is they're not good. The pods are going to get dark. So
I do remember someone saying that he thought the Pistons were going to make the playoffs.
Oh, I thought they were back. My dumb fan brain in the beginning of the season when they lit it up like the first week and all that young talent was firing. I was like, Pistons are back, baby. Give me that 10 seed. And then they immediately went on to lose like 9 games after I said that. And I was like, oh no, we're still terrible.
I think they were on a 9-game losing streak when you said it.
I really was hoping you didn't remember I said that. I was going to let that one just die.
I got that one saved up.
While we're talking about this, let's get our final sip on college basketball.
Michigan State. It's always great to beat Michigan. Like that's what we live for as fans, to beat your rival. So it's a great first win. And I feel like this was perfect timing because it was right at the end of college football. Boom. Rivalry basketball game kicking off the season. Yes, the games have been going on since early November, but this one felt like the season started. So both teams, like I said, average at best. Key points, though, for my team, Michigan's 5-0 when holding teams under 60. And MSU is 6-1 when Malik Hall's in the lineup. Like I said, he makes a huge difference. And your boy Juwan Howard's still looking for his first win at the Breslin.
It'll happen. I don't know when. So, it'll happen.
Up next, MSU.
Fun news. Say, oh, you're college basketball still. Sorry.
That's fair. I mean, you're excited for this next.
I am excited.
I get it. MSU this next week. This rivalry win fades very quickly, as tough road trips to Wisconsin and Illinois before heading back to hosting the Big Ten favorite Purdue, and then Michigan, home and away this week to a very well-coached home team of Iowa. They always play well at home.
Iowa and Wisconsin always have like 6'10", 7-foot centers that are a problem. Just corn-fed beanstalks in the middle.
Big white dudes with no tone either. They're not tone. Yeah. They're just big dudes.
Like if the Plumlees were not as good at basketball, that's what Iowa and Wisconsin always have in the paint.
Absolutely. You're not wrong though. They always got this big,
just doofy guys down there that just get 20 boards a game and nothing else.
Michigan ends the week hosting Northwestern, who's surprisingly 12-3, playing good ball, looking for their first tournament appearance. I think it's coming this year. So we got a lot to talk about in college basketball. March Madness is right around the corner. Can't wait.
Can't wait to bet on 18 and 19-year-olds. All right, so new segment, something we thought we'd have a little fun with the Six-Pack Sports Pod, is we're going to do a segment called Build Your Own Six-Pack. So with this, we're going to pick different topics every episode, and we're going to pick whether there are top or our least favorite, so whether that's movies or sports figures or teams or whatever's kind of happening in the world, we're going to use that. Drew and I are each going to pick 3 things from that category to build our own Six-Pack Sports Pod six-pack
of thoughts.
Of thoughts. So for the first one, our first six-pack is we are going to do things that we need to leave in 2022. So with that, Drew, what is our first beer in the 6-pack of things we need to leave in 2022?
I'll tell you what, this one should be the only thing, in my opinion, that we leave in 2022. But in all reality, it's Denver's last ride session. Get rid of it. It's done. Get it out of here.
That really did like boom and fizzle.
It boomed their entire marketing campaign.
Broncos
boomed
country
for the first 3 weeks, and then they're like, "Oh my God, this is bad." I guarantee you that Russell Wilson was like saying that before he got in bed with his wife. Like,
you think like he was on top of Sierra and like right as it was happening, he's like, "Broncos country, let's ride." She's like, "Not again,
as
Russ."
Weird as he is. All right, what's our second beer?
All right, so for things that need to be left in 2022, soccer. See you, World Cup. We'll see you in 4 years. We're leaving you in 2022. America's not going to care about you for 1,200, 1,300 days later.
Nobody cares about soccer.
Nobody cares about soccer here.
I played soccer in high school, too. It's so fun to play.
Yeah, it's like baseball. It's fun to play. It's hard to watch.
So fun to play. Terrible to watch.
Soccer.
Yeah, soccer. Leave it in 2022.
Leaving it in 2022. See you in 4 years.
We don't need it in 23 at all. I guarantee you we don't mention soccer in our podcast for the entire 23 year.
We're not going to talk about it again as a country until 2026 when the World Cup comes back. Do they alternate between women's and men's World Cups? So they'll talk about the women's team in 2024?
Who knows? I don't know.
We don't even know.
Because we're leaving soccer behind.
It's soccer, Greg. It's soccer.
Reason number 3.
Beer number 3.
Not beer number 3 in our 6-pack of thoughts. LeBron lying for no reason.
Do you think he's watched The Godfather, let alone read the book?
The book. What book was it? He was reading Malcolm X's book. And they were like, "Hey, what's your favorite part of that book?" He's like, "Oh, well, there's so many good things to talk about."
You think
as he's on page 1 in the photo, like LeBron.
Just say lying. I'm starting it. Just say I'm about to start it.
I'm about to start it. I'm really excited.
He's White Goodman in Dodgeball when he comes down reading the dictionary. It's like he liked to break a mental sweat too.
Like it's gotten so bad with LeBron lying is you go on any like TikTok that's sports related, and you go straight to the comments and people will be like, "LeBron knew this was going to happen."
Mm-hmm.
Leave it in 2022, LeBron. Stop lying.
Leave it in 2022. Just be yourself. You're LeBron. You're the king. Beer number 4, Detroit Lions uniforms. We're leaving them in 2022 because they have filed paperwork with the league office for a new look in 2023. Boys, we bite kneecaps in 2023.
Is that for real?
Campbell, that's for real. Okay. I saw this a couple weeks ago.
I didn't know this. This is news to me.
And I just kind of forgot about it until we saw this topic. I'm like, you know what? We are leaving officially is the unis. So we'll see. They're not going to change them too much. I hope they go to kind of that throwbacky type look. Those Barry Sanders, maybe like block 1990 block lettering, the Honolulu blue. I'm excited for it.
Silver outline on the number. Yeah, I like that.
Some flat grays on there. Maybe the flat helmet for a couple games. The real good Thanksgiving throwback.
I do hope they don't ruin them though, because I do think the Lions have solid white jerseys. I like them.
They have. They're all whites. I think are a top uniform.
Same thing with Michigan State's all whites.
I think they're a top 10. All white unis are so clean. I love all white uniforms on any team. Like they just look great. Same with the all blacks. Like the flat black, the flat white are awesome combos. I like the all whites a little more. I'm not a big fan of our all grays.
Beer number 5.
Beer number 5.
This might be a little political. It might be a little controversial. But I would like to leave letting trans men, compete in women's competitions. Leave it in 22. It's garbage.
I'm with you. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It makes no sense. It's garbage. There is no reason for a biological man that is 6'2", 6'3", to be competing in a Division I national championship against 5'8" 5'7", 5'8",
Right.
biological women.
It's wild that we even have to say that. I know you got 2 daughters. I now have 2 daughters, and I'm just like, I don't want to have to deal with this stuff. Let's nip this in the bud now.
Get rid of it. It was a cute little woke.
It was weird. It was so
cute
weird.
little woke like experiment, but it was bad. Leave it in 22.
What annoys me about it is I feel like 99% of people are on the same page as us, and it's that 1% that's just screaming the loudest.
It's less than 1%.
Exactly. All right, last
Leave
thing.
Leave it in 22. Give me
beer number 6. You know what we're leaving? And I had to put an exclamation point on this after our last game. We are leaving Aaron Rodgers and his dumb haircut in 2022. Homie ain't coming back. Get rid of your stupid Peaky Blinders haircut. Ride off into the sunset. Goodbye.
Rich, do you think he's retiring?
I do. You see how weird he was being like after he did?
Oh, he was being JJ McCarthy-esque.
He's throwing his arm around Randall Cobb. He pushes the cameraman out of the way and is like, "Don't film this." This person's like, "Dude, just walk down the tunnel." He's the worst.
JJ McCarthy-esque.
I'm gonna not argue with it for the sake of hating on Aaron Rodgers together. The dude's just the worst. He's annoying.
Nobody likes him.
Ayahuasca. No more tea for you, buddy.
What are you going to do when he comes back? What are you going to do when he comes back?
I don't know. Hopefully we just sweep him again. When was the last time the Lions swept the Packers? It's been a while.
2018?
Maybe it was sooner than I thought. But yeah, I mean, he's been Detroit's personal boogeyman for like 15 years now. So 100%. I'm done with him. I'm ready to leave him in 2022. Aaron Rodgers is the end of that. No more. Sayonara.
Let's ride.
Lions country, one pride.
Okay, so that was a nice little 6-pack for sports. Let's do a real life.
I have some funny ones too for non-sports related things to leave in 2022. Do you want? I'll go first on this one.
Give me the first beer.
You want me to go first on this one? So, like number 1, Kanye. I think we have.
See ya.
I think we have to.
That's a great answer.
We have to leave Kanye.
That could be all. That could be all 6 beers. That could be every single answer.
He is the 6-pack. The second, and we talked about this before. The second he started being like Hitler had some points, it was like nope. Nope. Sorry, bro. You crossed a line. You crossed a line. Literally, the whole world fought about it. Everybody got together. We decided Hitler's wrong. So like we're not going back on that now.
I love how our answers are different but the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like so we're both giving legitimate answers to leave in 2022, but like they're just different departments. So my first answer was Androids. Like, why do we need Androids anymore? If you don't have an iPhone at this point in your life as an adult, what are you doing? Serious question. What are you doing?
Die-hard like Google phone guy, and his go-to's like it's got a better. He goes, it's got a better camera. I was like, I don't care.
It doesn't.
I was like, even if it does, it's not that big a difference. It's not that big a difference. I'm so sick of seeing those green bubbles. We could figure it out.
There's nothing I hate more than having a great group chat with some friends, and there's one bum with an Android in there, and you can't name the group chat.
We kick them out. Like those people have been booted from friends of ours groups chat.
Leave it in 22 Android phones. Give me beer 3.
Beer 3. I was kind of getting a little political on this one too, but pronouns, and not because I don't want to use yours. I'm just not doing it anymore. I don't know what to call people. I'm going to wing it. I'm just going to call you, hey person. No more at all. I'm anti. Done with talking about it. Leaving it in 22.
I agree. That's again super political. We could probably get in a lot of trouble saying some.
It's just annoying.
Things, but him. That's me.
It's just too many. It's confusing.
Okay. Beer number 4.
Beer 4.
I watch a lot of TikToks. I'll admit. I'll send you a couple here and there. I know that. But there's something that we need to leave in 2022, in regards to TikToks, and that's staged TikTok pranks.
Ugh,
I'm done with them.
I hate them.
They're the worst.
People can't act. Everybody thinks like you could act, but you and I, if we were to be on a movie, they'd be like, who are these two idiots that think they're actors?
Why are they on the screen?
Why are these two guys reading while everybody else is in character?
I don't even think I could qualify as an extra in a movie because I'd be like, I wouldn't be able to do it.
I've done it. It's the most awkward thing in the world because you like have to pretend to do it and you feel so awkward, like walking through the scene knowing there's a movie star around you. It's a very strange thing.
What movie were you in?
I was in this one movie they shot in Michigan called The 5-Year Engagement. They did a bunch of, when I was in college, they needed like a bunch of college kids as extras. It had like Jason Segel and Emily Blunt. Like Reese Ivan, I was in a like college lecture scene, and then I was in a scene where a couple drunk college kids went and tried to like order food from Jason Segel, and that part ended up getting cut, but it was like me and 4 other college kids that were pretending to be hammered, and the one kid that was actually an actor, like
pretending.
Yeah, well, it was like 2 p.m, and they made it look like it was nighttime. But I will say they told us to wait in the bar next door. We were filming in Ann Arbor, and they told us
You're
to
gonna
wait.
Have to send me these clips. I want to see them.
Those ones don't exist. The college room one, I'm in like the back, so I can circle. I'm the kid sitting here. So anyway, but no. So we went to. They put us and they told us to wait in the bar next to where they were filming. So we started drinking. It was me and this kid named Greg and this kid named Corey, and we came back and like we each had a buzz on, and then there was one kid that was an actual actor. And him and Jason Segel like got riffing of just like yelling at each other of what a drunk kid would do at a bar at like 2 a.m. in Michigan. And then the other one was this movie. I don't remember, but it had the kid that plays the Flash in it. It was like one of his first roles, Ezra Miller. And then it also had like Demi Moore in it and the guy that played the Sandman from Spider-Man. But yeah, anyway, I was in that. I was an extra at a wedding. It was fun.
I love weddings.
Weddings are the best. Prom where you're allowed to drink.
Literally the best.
So fun.
Usually you don't have to pay for the drinks.
All right, beer number 5. Things we're
beer
leaving
number 5. Give it to
2022.
Anyway, stage TikToks. They're the worst. Just stop.
Yeah.
Stop doing it, please.
Stop it. The Queen. We're leaving the Queen in 2022. R.I.P.
Oh, that's deep, man.
She died.
I respect it. That's deep.
Right? She's getting left there.
I think we should leave that entire family in 2022, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, the whole, it was the matriarchy, and now it's, what is it, Prince Andrew, so it's back to the patriarchy. We're just done with that.
It's King Charles.
They're figureheads. Like, they don't even do anything. They have no power. They can't declare war. They can't make laws. Like,
what's the United States equivalent?
The Kardashians. The Kardashians, yeah. But anyway, so I'm leaving the Queen. Queen's getting left in 2022.
Wow. Okay.
Beer number 6.
Beer number 6. Again, we're on different levels of answers, but they're all the same and they all make sense. But beer number 6, closing out our final 6-pack of thoughts here. Paying for daycare when the daycare center is closed. Leave it in 22. Yes, that's a real thing. It's garbage.
So what was their, you have to explain this to me.
They provided themselves a Christmas vacation, but we still had to pay our spot, but the center was closed. So not only am I paying for daycare, I had to find somebody else or rearrange my work schedule to take care of the 3 offspring that I have.
How did they finagle that? Like, why didn't you just not pay? Be like, well, since you're closed,
well,
I'm
then
not going to give
you
you money.
They drop you then. There's a waiting list. They can drop you like that.
So they got a gun to your head. They just robbed you.
It's legalized criminal theft.
It was robbery.
Leave it at 22.
That's wild.
Having to pay for daycare when they're closed. I'm done talking about it. Rate your beer.
This was actually really good. It was a good seasonal beer. It tasted like cinnamon. A little nutmeg in there. It was nice. I'm going to give this beer a 3.7 out of 5. Winter Solstice Seasonal Ale by Anderson Valley Brewing Company. It was a good little beer. I would get it again next Christmas.
So for me, High Noon, vodka and soda, super soda-y. Soda-y? Soda-y?
Super carbonated.
Super carbonated. Kind of caught me off guard. When you're drinking beer for a podcast, you're like, okay, I want a beer. Caught me off guard being super soda-y. But decent flavor. That's fine. High Noon, 4.1.
4.1. I'm going to have to get some of those. Like a good hard liquor. All right. Next episode, we're going to talk about the Lions at the Packers. We touched on it a little bit today, but we wanted to hit college football first. We'll see you guys next time. See ya.
See ya. I kind of need to know if it was a single or double.
It's really crazy. Like, I'm curious now.